Hi, Democrats. Today is Friday, June 24th, and it's time for the chair's daily live. Usually I would say happy Friday. I am relieved that it's Friday. I am depressed about what's happening on this Friday. So before I start talking, I'm going to do a thing that somebody my age probably shouldn't really be doing, but I'm going to issue a trigger warning. I am going to be talking about the SCOTUS decision. So if you've had your fill for today, you think you can't hear another word about it, this is your warning to log off, and I understand. So I heard the news, and I'm sure if you're watching me, you know how I felt when I heard the news. And my first thought was, okay, here we go. And then my second thought was, this is why we vote. This is why we vote. All of our rights come through the vote. And our rights are not static. They're not. It takes deliberate action. We had the right for 49 years. And then the Supreme Court said, well, it was only kind of part of our rights, sort of ish, and we can undo it. And that's what they've done. Now, they didn't make law. And I want to be very clear that I'm not giving out bad information and I'm not acting out on bad information. They didn't make law. What they said was, it goes back to the states, and the states can make the law. Well, I live in Oklahoma. Our current leadership has told us what they're going to do, regardless of what the polling says that Oklahomans want, regardless of how Oklahomans act. Our leadership has decided what they're going to make right for Oklahoma, and they're bragging about it, and they're proud of it, and they are being unreasonable about it. So let's be clear. I'm getting phone calls, texts, messages. Everybody is reaching out to me in every possible way they can, telling me how mad they are. My favorite call of the day was a person who I haven't talked to in 2 months, who called me and told me that she was mad and said words out of her mouth that I've never heard her say in the 10 years that I've known her. But what she said was, I am so angry. How do I register more people to vote? That was my favorite call, because that is the answer. Being angry is not enough. I've gotten invitations to no less than 3 marches just today. No less than 3 marches. I'm not anti-march. You guys know me. I'm not anti-march, but I need a march with a purpose. So if we're going to march, what are we marching for? Are we marching to make sure that people understand that this did not happen in a vacuum, that this did not happen without our input, this did not happen without our consent, because it happened because of how we vote or how we don't vote. You guys have heard me say this every day, and I'm going to continue to say it. It's happened because of how we vote and how we don't vote. Everybody likes to talk about, the Supreme Court like it's some ethereal and we don't know how it happens. Supreme Court is, they're confirmed by the Senate. We vote for our senators. And right now, we have 2 senators who are out of touch with our state. One of them is retiring, thank goodness. But the other one has prayers all over his site, who stood by while children were sexually assaulted in an organization that he was a part of. But no abortion. Let's be clear. This isn't about abortion. I am well past my reproductive ages. So it's not even about me. I'm not mad because my rights have been taken. I'm angry because folks who want to have an abortion in your family, it's super easy. Don't have one. But do not try to control the lives of other folks. There are 7,000 children in the foster care system in Oklahoma. 21% of children in Oklahoma live below the poverty line. 71% of the homes that receive food stamps in Oklahoma have children in them. So what that's saying is children are being born into poverty and food insecurity. In Oklahoma, Black women's maternal mortality rate is at an crazy high level. Black women are dying in childbirth in Oklahoma at just crazy rates. That doesn't matter. They wanted to check off the win. So they've checked off the win. Mark my words. 2-3 years from now, when these legislators have seen 13-year-old children walking around pregnant, when they have to have daycares in all of the junior highs and high schools, and they're going to be ill-equipped to handle it, they're going to be wringing their hands and crying about welfare. These things do not happen in a vacuum. They don't. They don't happen in a vacuum. I am not the girl who's sitting at home trying to figure out how we can kill babies, right? Life is sacred. Life is sacred. But abortion should be safe, legal, and available. That's what it should be. It has been, and I'm just telling you, this whole abortion on demand nonsense, free running abortion is not what is happening. It's not what's happening. No one is giving birth and then bludgeoning a baby. I think that's the only way that I can understand what they mean by post-birth abortions. That's not a thing. That's an oxymoron. That's made up scare tactics. That's not what's happening. A 9-month abortion, that's not what's happening. By the time a woman is showing, if something happens that means that she has to not make the decision to carry that baby to term, it's usually because of some detrimental reason. Because by the time she's gotten there, she's come to terms with, she's told people and people know. And there is a reason why a woman or a pregnant person makes the decision. And it's not this girl's decision or anybody else who's watching who isn't that pregnant person. I told everybody that I wasn't going to talk about that all the time. I wasn't going to talk about that today. I wasn't going to talk about the fact that we're running doctors out of the state because we're criminalizing them. I wasn't going to talk about the bounty. But what I want to talk about, and I want you to hear me, we did not get here in a vacuum. We did not just get here. We got here by people not understanding that voting for your senator is important. We got here by people saying they're too discouraged and their vote doesn't count. And we have all of these state legislators who literally passed a law that said no exception for rape or incest. That happened on a local level. That is your state rep that goes to the Capitol for 5 months out of the year, who voted for no exceptions for rape or incest or the health of the life of the pregnant person. And so now with the SCOTUS decision in Oklahoma, the doctor can be charged. Some random person who has nothing to do with the pregnancy can try to seek a bounty, and a victim of rape or incest has to carry that child to term, regardless of age, regardless of the conditions. That's what we have. And the governor of our state, and I'm just going to call him that because I don't want to call him my governor or our governor. The governor of our state has been on social media bragging. He's been bragging about this incredibly dangerous law because women will die who didn't have to die. Children who, without viability, parents will have to carry to term pregnancies that aren't viable. That's what's going to happen. Women are going to be monitored in a way that if a man had to be monitored that way, we wouldn't even have the conversation. I was on social media today and someone posted a meme that if men could carry, if men's lives had to be completely interrupted, blah, 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 under someone else's control, the laws would change. Well, the reality is they have the freedom now, because women who are doing in vitro, who are getting pregnant by themselves, doing in vitro, we're not even talking about them because they're not terminating this birth that they've worked really hard to get. But there's a man right now who's finding out that the woman he was sleeping with is pregnant and who is making the decision not to come around. making the decision not to contribute, making the decision to walk away. So he has a choice, but the person carrying the baby doesn't, as of today. And this happened because not enough folks vote. That's what happened. So my call to action for you today is, we're in the middle of early voting. I was so upset today. I was planning on voting in person on Tuesday, but I went to go vote just to clear my head, just to feel better about what's going on. Early voting is happening today until 6 o'clock. So you still have an hour and a half to vote today. And it happens until 2 o'clock tomorrow, Saturday, all over the state at your county election board, not your polling place, but your county election board. And then you can vote in person on the day of, which is Tuesday, the 28th, from 7 to 7. That's how we change this, folks, is through the ballot box. You have to vote. You have to educate yourself and vote every time your precinct is open, every single time, because this is a series of votes. It's a series. There's the stuff that happens at the state level where we said no exceptions. That happened here, and where we set a trigger so that if what happened today happened, that it would happen automatically. That happened locally. But how we got the extreme activist judges on the Supreme Court, that happened as a result of more and more radical Senate votes. And I say that because I live in Oklahoma and our senators are radical. They are radical. And they voted for these extremists. And that's what they are. I'm not going to call them anything else. They are extremists. So this decision and how it affects Oklahoma, let's be very clear. It will not end abortion. Does not end abortion. They don't care about ending abortion. It doesn't end abortion. What it does is it ends abortion for certain people. It makes a distinction between the haves and the have-nots, because people who are able to afford and have the ability to get to a state that still has abortion will be able to have it. But the poor folks, the folks who are making the decision because they don't want to birth a child into poverty or child insecurity, well, if they're living in poverty and food insecurity, they're not going to Illinois. They don't have the money to get to Illinois to take care of themselves. This is a have-not. This doesn't end abortion. It's virtue signaling. It's nonsense. But it happened as a result of how we vote or how we don't vote. So there is an election coming. Election day is Tuesday, June 28th. Cast your vote. And if somehow you watch me and you didn't get registered to vote to participate today, register to vote, because we have another election in August and another election in November. Register to vote. Make sure that everybody you know is registered to vote. Educate yourselves and vote every time, because this right here is what happens. This is a result of voting. This is absolutely political. It's a result of voting, and you've got to show up and vote. Have a great weekend. If you're in Tulsa and you're at Pride tomorrow, hope I see you. And I'll be back here Monday at 4:15.